If your urgent miracle still feels delayed, stay with me until the end. St. Anthony is already preparing to surprise you in ways beyond your imagination. Life can be heavy, the sickness that won't leave, the debts that keep growing, the distance within your own family, they weigh down the heart. But you are not here by accident. This is your sacred pause, your holy breath. This is the moment your miracle begins. Let go of the pressure for just a moment, because Saint Anthony is already interceding on your behalf, even if you can't feel it yet. If your blessing hasn't arrived, don't turn away now. You are closer than you think. Whether it's a financial emergency, a broken relationship needing family restoration, or an impossible miracle that seems out of reach, heaven is listening right now. You are not forgotten, and this is not the end of your story. Lean into this miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony and watch how faith unlocks doors that fear could never open. Type Amen below if you believe this is the moment everything changes. O beloved Saint Anthony of Padua, miracle worker of the impossible, we come before you with hearts full of hope, yet weighed down by fear. Look upon every soul praying this prayer to Saint Anthony with faith so fragile it trembles. You see the mother crying over her child, the man crushed under a financial emergency, and the one whose body aches for divine healing. Intercede for them, St. Anthony, and whisper their names before God's throne. Remind them that even what feels lost forever can be restored through your powerful intercession. St. Anthony, we lift to you every urgent help request, every tear shed in silence, and every desperate plea for an impossible miracle. You who find what's been lost, help us rediscover our strength, our peace, and our faith. Bring family restoration to homes broken by distance or conflict, and pour hope into hearts that feel abandoned. You have never turned away from the desperate, and we know you are not turning away now. Stay close to every soul listening, letting them feel your presence even in their darkest night. Beloved Saint, carry our impossible requests, the debts that suffocate, the illnesses that baffle doctors, the relationships torn apart. Deliver them to heaven's mercy, and let divine hands touch every pain we can't fix ourselves. We believe this miraculous prayer to St. Anthony is already moving heaven on our behalf. For every person here, don't let them give up now. Stay with us, St. Anthony, because what's coming is greater than what's gone. If you trust in his intercession, type "Glory to God" and believe that your breakthrough is already unfolding. The beginning of your miracle. There are moments in life when you feel like you've reached the end of yourself. The bills pile up, the diagnosis gets worse, the distance in your family feels unbearable. You whisper prayers at night, wondering if heaven even hears. This is where prayer to St. Anthony meets you, in the raw and quiet places where words feel too small. St. Anthony, the saint of lost things, steps in not only to help you find what's lost, but to remind you that your urgent miracle is not out of reach. Think of how many times you've tried to fix it all alone. You've stretched every dollar, held your family together by sheer will, pushed through sickness with nothing but hope. And yet, here you are, exhausted, but still standing. That's faith in disguise. That's the quiet power that attracts heaven. Saint David. Anthony knows the cries of those who feel forgotten, and he is already interceding for you right now. This miraculous prayer to St. Anthony is not about perfect words, it's about surrender. Imagine this, a single prayer unlocking what years of effort couldn't. A door that's been shut suddenly swings open. The debt that haunted you begins to vanish through unexpected provision. The phone call comes that heals an old wound in your family. That's what happens when we dare to believe in impossible miracles. St. Anthony thrives in the places where hope feels dead, breathing life into situations no one else can fix. Right now, as you listen, something is shifting. It may not be loud or obvious, but faith doesn't need fireworks. It moves in whispers and steady steps. This is why you're here, because your miracle is closer than it looks, even if it feels delayed. Saint Anthony is standing at the gates of heaven with your name on his lips, presenting your urgent help request directly to God. What if today is the day it begins? Picture your home filled with laughter instead of silence. Picture your bank account stabilizing after months of fear. Picture that ache in your body easing as healing flows in like gentle rain. That's not fantasy, it's faith. And it's why this powerful Catholic prayer for miracles has drawn you here. St. Anthony is not bound by time. His intercession reaches instantly where you need it most. Some of you are here because of a financial emergency that has left you breathless. You've prayed, worked, and still nothing changes. But what if heaven's answer isn't in what you've tried before? What if St. Anthony is already aligning opportunities, favor, and provision in ways you can't yet see? Believe that this miraculous prayer to St. Anthony is unlocking doors that no human effort could open. Others are here for family restoration. The silence between you and a loved one is deafening. The tension in your home feels unbearable. You wonder if love can be rebuilt from ashes. St. Anthony has walked with families more broken than yours and seen laughter return where bitterness once ruled. His intercession carries not only requests, but reconciliation, softening hearts in ways words alone never could. And then, there are those carrying sickness in their bodies, or fear for someone they love. Every doctor visit feels heavier. Every sleepless night makes faith harder. But St. Anthony is also the saint of healing, bringing comfort in places medicine can't reach. He stands in prayer beside you, lifting your name into heaven's courts, asking God for strength, for renewal, for miracles no report can explain. This prayer to St. Anthony isn't just a ritual, it's a lifeline. It's the point where heaven meets earth, where your impossible requests are heard and answered. You're not just asking, you're connecting. And when you connect with faith this deeply, something always moves. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the weight on your shoulders lifting. See yourself breathing lighter, laughing again, walking into a home filled with peace. That's what happens when faith takes root. St. Anthony doesn't just restore what's lost. He gives back more than you imagined. Restoration of homes, restoration of family relationships, even unexpected blessings that make you marvel at how quickly it turned. Think about this. How many times in history has St. Anthony answered prayers no one thought possible? Countless, and yours is no different. Whether it's finding lost things, repairing relationships, or breaking through the walls of debt and sickness, he has done it before, and he will do it again. Your part? Stay, believe, speak your need aloud, even now, say it boldly. St. Anthony, I need your help. Whether it's financial breakthrough, urgent help, or a healing only God can give, don't hold back. The louder your faith speaks, the faster heaven responds. This is not coincidence. This moment was designed for you. Every delay, every tear, every prayer has led you here to this sacred space where miracles become motion. St. Anthony isn't waiting for perfect faith. He moves on honest hearts. He knows the weight of impossible miracles and carries them gladly. Your burden is not too heavy. Your request is not too much. If it matters to you, it matters to heaven. And this prayer is proof that heaven is already leaning in. Now imagine your testimony. Imagine standing here weeks from now saying, "It happened. My urgent miracle came." It won't be a matter of if, but when. That's the certainty St. Anthony brings, faith that transforms waiting into receiving. Look at your hands. They may feel empty now, but soon they will hold the evidence of answered prayer. This infallible prayer to St. Anthony has carried thousands before you, and today it carries you. You are not forgotten. You are in the hands of heaven. This is your moment. Let go of the fear that says it's too late. Let go of the doubt that whispers it's too hard. St. Anthony has seen worse, and each time he has returned with blessings beyond measure. If you feel hope stirring again, don't ignore it. That's the Holy Spirit. That's heaven reminding you that this miraculous prayer today is not empty words, but the doorway to breakthrough. Step through it. Type Amen in the comments right now if you believe this is the hour your miracle begins. Declare it boldly and let St. Anthony hear your faith loud and clear, because from this moment forward, things are already shifting. Heaven is moving. Your urgent help has been heard, and your testimony is already on its way. Faith that holds you together. Have you ever felt like you're holding your life together with nothing but threads of hope? Those quiet moments when you stare at the ceiling, wondering if your prayer even matters, are exactly where prayer to St. Anthony comes alive. He meets you not in strength, but in surrender, in those nights when faith feels like a whisper instead of a roar. St. Anthony is known for finding what's lost, and sometimes that includes the courage you thought was gone forever. Picture the single mother with nothing left but bills and tears. She prays not for luxury, but for her children to eat, for her home to be warm, for peace to return. That's where urgent help meets divine mercy. St. Anthony has walked into homes like hers for centuries, carrying prayers of financial emergency and seen provisions come in ways no one could explain. And if he's done it for her, why not for you? Faith isn't about ignoring reality. It's about facing it and saying, "Even so, I believe." When the world says there's no way, impossible miracles are born. You may see nothing now, but heaven is moving in silence. St. Anthony stands before God right now with your impossible requests, asking for a shift only heaven can bring. Think of a man deep in debt, drowning in fear. One night, desperate, he prayed this miraculous prayer to St. Anthony. Within days, he received help from a friend he hadn't spoken to in years, a new job offer, and a peace that carried him through. That's how fast faith works when it aligns with heaven. Your financial breakthrough can begin this same way, through faith that refuses to quit. Some are here because of fractured families. You've been walking past the same silence at home, holding back tears, wishing things could return to how they once were. St. Anthony knows the ache of family restoration. His intercession softens hearts hardened by pride and heals words that can't be unsaid. He has seen love resurrected in homes everyone else abandoned. Maybe you're here for healing. You've read the reports, heard the prognosis, and felt fear grip your heart. But listen, miracles aren't always loud. Sometimes they arrive quietly. Strength on a day you felt weak, results better than expected, a sudden lift of pain. St. Anthony carries these prayers into heaven, asking for mercy over every cell in your body, every hidden wound, every fear. Faith isn't a straight road, it's a climb. Some days you feel unstoppable, others you wonder if you can even pray. But in those weakest moments, your prayer carries more power than you think. St. Anthony loves the prayer that says, "I can't, but you can." That's when heaven leans in closer. That's when the miraculous prayer today begins its deepest work. Have you noticed how often breakthroughs come right after the hardest season? That's because urgent miracles are often born in silence. The night before Joseph was freed, he was still in prison. The day before the Red Sea parted, it still looked impossible. Your story is no different. Right now may look bleak, but it's the setup for something greater. Imagine waking up tomorrow with answers where you once had questions. Picture the phone ringing with good news, the email you've been waiting for, the apology that rebuilds a home. St. Anthony has seen it happen countless times, and he is interceding so it happens for you. This is not blind hope. This is anchored faith. If you feel small, unworthy, or unsure, remember, Saint Anthony prays for those who feel unworthy. He brings even the quietest requests, financial help, family restoration, urgent miracles, into God's presence. Nothing is too small or too broken. If it matters to you, it matters to heaven. Here's the truth. Few will tell you. Faith doesn't mean pretending you're fine. It means crying in prayer and still showing up. It means whispering your pain into the hands of a God who listens. And through Saint Anthony's intercession, those whispers become thunder in heaven. This is why you can't walk away. You don't know which prayer will be the one that opens the floodgates. It might be this very moment. St. Anthony specializes in turning weary prayers into powerful testimonies. Your urgent help is closer than you think. Close your eyes and picture it. The debt cleared, the doctor smiling with good news, your family around the table laughing again. These aren't distant dreams. They are the fruit of relentless prayer. They are the result of staying connected when everything screamed to give up. Every testimony of impossible miracles starts with someone who refused to stop. Think of the widow who gave her last coin, the blind man who shouted louder when told to be quiet. St. Anthony loves bold faith like that. Bold enough to believe that even now, even here, heaven is about to move. Maybe you've prayed before and nothing happened. Don't let that stop you. Sometimes delays are not denials, they're divine alignments. St. Anthony sees the whole picture you cannot. Your impossible requests are being positioned for perfect timing. This prayer isn't about begging, it's about trusting. St. Anthony teaches us that. When he prayed as if God was listening because he knew he was. Pray that way now. Speak boldly. Speak expectantly. Let your faith declare what your eyes can't see yet. Your financial emergency may look dire, but heaven's resources never run dry. Your broken relationship may seem dead, but God specializes in resurrections. St. Anthony's intercession is the bridge between despair and deliverance. Walk across it. If you've lost something, peace, joy, hope, this prayer is for you. Finding lost things is not just about objects, it's about souls rediscovering their strength, families finding their way home, hearts remembering how to beat with hope. Even now, Saint Anthony is whispering your name before heaven. He's lifting up your fears, your tears, and your requests with holy urgency. He knows time matters to you. He knows how long you've waited, and he's praying you through it. Take a breath. Release the pressure. Rest in the truth that urgent miracles don't come from striving, but from surrendering. This moment is not random. It's sacred. You were drawn here because heaven wants you to know you are seen. Picture it now. The door opening, the breakthrough arriving, the peace settling in. Say it aloud. I believe my miracle is coming. Speak it with conviction. Let those words echo louder than fear. Because right now in this prayer, something holy is happening. St. Anthony is interceding for your urgent help, and heaven is already leaning in. This is where the tide turns. This is where hope takes over. If you believe your miracle is already in motion, type "Glory to God" in the comments. Declare it, believe it, and let faith lead you forward. The unshakable power of intercession. There is a sacred strength in knowing that you are not praying alone. When you call upon Saint Anthony, you are inviting a friend of heaven to stand beside you. His intercession has carried countless souls through their darkest hours, turning tears into triumphs. This prayer to Saint Anthony is more than words. It's a bridge connecting your heart to the throne of God, where mercy overflows and urgent miracles are born. Think of the times you felt unseen. Those nights when you whispered prayers into the dark, convinced no one heard. But even then, Saint Anthony was there, listening, carrying your words like precious treasure to heaven. Whether it's an impossible request for family restoration, a desperate cry for financial help, or a plea for healing, none of it is too small, too big, or too broken for his care. When you pray through Saint Anthony, it's not repetition, it's partnership. You're joining your faith with his unwavering belief in God's power. That's why the miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony works so deeply. He takes the weight you can't carry and lifts it where it belongs, to the one who can change everything. Imagine this, a father praying every night for his estranged son. For months, nothing changes. Then one day, out of nowhere, the son calls. Apologies are exchanged, hearts soften, and laughter fills their home once more. That's family restoration born from persistent prayer and Saint Anthony's intercession. Intercession is not magic. It's a holy collaboration between heaven and earth. You pour out your need. Saint Anthony delivers it with urgency. He doesn't stop until heaven responds. When you feel weak, he prays stronger. When you feel tired, he stands taller. He is proof that you are never abandoned in prayer. Consider the widow drowning in financial emergency, unsure of how to pay her rent. She prayed this miraculous prayer today with trembling faith. Within weeks, unexpected help arrived, a grant approved, debts reduced, and a peace she hadn't felt in years. This is the power of intercession. It aligns heaven's abundance with your desperate need. Even in sickness, intercession changes everything. A man battling illness prayed through Saint Anthony. The doctors didn't have answers, but prayer did. Strength returned, pain lessened, and his faith became stronger than his fear. Whether the miracle comes instantly or unfolds in steps, healing flows through prayer that refuses to quit. You see, Saint Anthony doesn't just hear prayers, he carries them. He walks them into heaven with urgency, saying, "This one matters. This one needs help now." That's why we call on him in impossible miracles, because he knows how to press them into God's hands. Right now, as you listen, imagine Saint Anthony kneeling beside you. Feel his presence as he whispers your needs aloud before heaven. Every sigh you've breathed, every tear you've shed, he gathers them like jewels and lifts them high. That's the beauty of intercession. You're not alone. If you've been waiting long, don't lose hope. Some miracles take time because they're building foundations you can't see. Restoration of homes, repaired marriages, healed hearts. They're crafted piece by piece. Trust Saint Anthony's timing. Trust that even delays are holy preparation. Faith often grows most in the waiting. That's why Saint Anthony's prayers don't just bring answers, they bring endurance. He strengthens your heart so you can stand even before the blessing arrives. That's what makes answered prayers so powerful. They meet a faith that's already been tested and proven. Have you ever wondered why small shifts feel so significant? The extra money you didn't expect. The text message after years of silence. the diagnosis that suddenly changes. These are glimpses of heaven's fingerprints, often delivered through St. Anthony's intercession. He doesn't just pray for outcomes, he orchestrates the journey toward them. And that journey teaches us something vital. Urgent miracles are not far-off dreams. They're seeds planted in prayer. St. Anthony waters them with his intercession, and heaven brings the growth. One day, what you prayed for in tears becomes the testimony you share in joy. Picture this: you're holding your overdue bills in your hands, whispering your fear. St. Anthony stands beside you, lifting that fear higher. Suddenly, provision flows from unexpected places. A payment cleared, a friend helps, a door opens. That's how financial breakthrough comes. Quietly at first, then powerfully all at once. If your family feels divided, imagine St. Anthony walking into your home, placing peace where conflict once lived. His prayers don't just change situations, they soften hearts, rebuild trust, and ignite forgiveness. That's how family restoration begins, not overnight, but one softened word at a time. Even in illness, St. Anthony's intercession invites heaven's healing. A woman once prayed for her child's recovery, clinging to hope. Days later, improvement came. Doctors called it unexplainable. We call it what it is, a miracle. And that same power is at work now as you pray. Intercession is relentless. St. Anthony doesn't stop because time has passed or because you've grown weary. He prays even when you can't. He stands before God, asking boldly for your impossible requests. This is why so many call him the friend of the desperate. He knows what it means to stand at the edge of hope and see it revived. Your urgent help isn't lost in the noise of life. It's held tightly in his prayers, carried to heaven's courts. Even now, something holy is happening. You may not see it yet, but faith works in silence long before it's visible. St. Anthony's intercession is stirring waters, shifting what feels immovable. Trust that your miracle is already in motion. What if today was the day heaven marked your request as answered? What if St. Anthony's prayer tipped the scale in your favor? That's not wishful thinking. That's faith declaring what's already being prepared. Stay in this moment. Keep your heart open. Speak your need out loud. Urgent miracle, healing, financial breakthrough, family restoration. Say it boldly. Heaven hears clearer when faith speaks louder than fear. You are not too late. Your case is not too hard. Saint Anthony has seen worse and watched them turn to glory. He is the patron of impossible miracles for a reason, because with him, nothing stays lost forever. Right now, feel hope rising. That's no accident. That's faith responding to prayer. That's St. Anthony moving closer, saying, I'm with you. I'm lifting this for you. If you trust that his intercession is already working, type, I believe in miracles in the comments. Declare it boldly. Your faith today is building tomorrow's testimony. The sacred power of surrender. There comes a point when you realize that holding on too tightly is only wearing you down. You've worried, planned, and fought with everything you have, and yet the weight remains. This is where surrender becomes sacred. Through the prayer to St. Anthony, you are invited to let go, not in defeat, but in trust. St. Anthony teaches that the miracle begins when you stop trying to control everything and place it all in God's hands. Surrender doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're wise enough to know where real strength comes from. Even St. Anthony himself, faced with trials, released them in prayer, trusting God to handle what he couldn't. And heaven always responded. When you surrender your impossible requests, you're stepping aside so God can work freely, unhindered by fear and doubt. Picture this. You've been battling a financial emergency, juggling bills, late notices, and sleepless nights. You whisper, "I can't do this anymore." In that very moment of honesty, St. Anthony steps in. He takes that burden and carries it before God, aligning divine provision with your deepest need. Suddenly, a job offer comes, debts are lifted, and unexpected help arrives. Surrender opens doors worry could never unlock. Think of the mother praying for family restoration. Years of silence between her and her son left her hopeless. Finally, she prayed, "Lord, I give him to you." Within weeks, he called. Healing began, laughter returned. That's the power of surrender, releasing what's broken so God can rebuild it through St. Anthony's intercession. Even in sickness, surrender carries a quiet strength. A man facing an uncertain diagnosis prayed through St. Anthony, "I trust you even here." Peace replaced fear long before healing came. And when the recovery arrived, it was sweeter because it grew from faith. That's what surrender does. It plants seeds of hope that bloom into healing. Let's be honest, letting go feels unnatural. We think if we hold on tighter, we can fix it. But what if holding on is what's blocking your urgent miracle? Surrender invites God into the very places you've tried to manage alone. Through St. Anthony's prayer, those areas transform. Surrender doesn't mean inaction. It means redirection. Instead of worrying, you worship. Instead of panic, you pray. You tell St. Anthony, "Take this, carry it where I can't." And he does. His intercession is the bridge between your release and heaven's response. Sometimes surrender is daily. Every morning you hand over the same financial breakthrough you've been praying for, the same broken relationship, the same diagnosis. Each time you do, you're choosing trust over control. And with each prayer, St. Anthony carries it faithfully, never tiring, never giving up on you. Think about Jesus in Gethsemane. "Not my will, but yours." Even the Son of God surrendered before the greatest miracle in history. St. Anthony lived this example too, walking humbly, releasing burdens daily, and seeing miracles unfold because of it. You are invited to do the same. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Surrender says, "I'm not alone. I don't have to do this by myself." It invites St. Anthony's intercession and heaven's power into situations that felt immovable. Suddenly, what was stuck begins to shift, not by force, but by faith. Have you noticed how peace follows surrender? The moment you say, "I let go," something lifts. The bills are still there, the family member is still distant, but your heart feels lighter. That peace is proof that St. Anthony is already working on your impossible miracles. Consider the woman desperate for urgent help with her failing marriage. She had tried counseling, conversations, even ultimatums. Nothing worked. Finally, she prayed through St. Anthony, "I surrender him to you, Lord." Within months, trust began to rebuild, words softened, and their home healed. It's the same with health. A parent once prayed for a sick child with clenched fists, demanding answers. But when they surrendered through St. Anthony, peace came first, and healing followed. Sometimes God calms the storm. Other times, he calms his child before the storm ends. If you're holding on too tightly, ask yourself, what if letting go is the key? What if your miraculous prayer today has been delayed, not denied, waiting for surrender to open the door? St. Anthony waits patiently to carry what you can't anymore. There's a holy shift that happens when you open your hands. The clenched fists of fear become open palms of trust. St. Anthony takes what you release and lifts it higher than your reach. That's when heaven responds, swiftly, powerfully, perfectly. Even in financial emergencies, surrender works. A man prayed for months over mounting debt with no change. When he finally surrendered, saying, "Lord, I trust your timing," doors opened, unexpected income, favor at work, and even forgiven debts. What changed? His posture. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about gaining peace. It's saying, "I believe God can handle this better than I can." Through Saint Anthony's intercession, you can finally breathe again, knowing your prayer is not only heard, but actively carried to heaven. When you surrender your family restoration, watch how small moments begin to shift. A text message comes. A soft word is spoken. Forgiveness grows where resentment once lived. These are the fingerprints of St. Anthony at work, guiding hearts back together piece by piece. Even for those facing illness, surrender brings miracles. One woman battling years of chronic pain prayed, "St. Anthony, I leave this in God's hands." Over time, her pain eased, her spirit lifted, and doctors called her recovery remarkable. This is the quiet power of letting go. Sometimes the hardest thing to surrender is time. You want it now, but St. Anthony reminds us that God's timing is perfect. The wait isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every day you surrender is a day closer to your urgent miracle being revealed. If you feel like your grip is slipping, that's okay. That's where faith begins. Surrender isn't about strength, it's about trust. And with St. Anthony's prayers joining yours, you can trust that what you let go of will be caught by heaven. Think of what you're holding on to now. Say it aloud, "I release this." Whether it's financial help, a fractured relationship, sickness, or an overwhelming fear, place it into St. Anthony's hands and let him carry it forward. The truth is, miracles often arrive the moment you stop forcing them. They come quietly, naturally, through prayers surrendered fully. That's why St. Anthony is called the Saint of the Desperate, because he meets us right where we let go. What if your surrender today is the key that unlocks tomorrow's breakthrough? What if your willingness to release is the final piece heaven was waiting for? This is not the end. It's the beginning of divine movement. If you're ready, speak it aloud. Saint Anthony, I surrender this to you. Carry it to heaven. Let those words be your freedom song. As you say them, feel the weight lift and hope rise, because surrender isn't the absence of action, it's the doorway to impossible miracles. Through this prayer, through St. Anthony's intercession, you are aligning with heaven's perfect plan. If you are ready to let go and trust fully, type, "I place it in God's hands," in the comments. This is your declaration of faith. The moment you release it, St. Anthony begins to carry it higher, walking in full confidence of your miracle. Confidence in prayer is not about what you see, it's about what you believe. You've prayed, surrendered, and stood in faith. Now it's time to trust that your urgent miracle is already unfolding. St. Anthony is not just hearing your prayers, he is actively interceding for you. Heaven is not silent. It is moving in alignment with every word of this miraculous prayer to St. Anthony. Think of how far you've come. The nights you thought you wouldn't make it, the weight that felt unbearable. Yet here you are, still praying, still believing. That persistence is not wasted. Each prayer has built a bridge between your heart and heaven. And St. Anthony has walked every step of it with you, carrying your impossible requests straight to God's throne. Faith doesn't wait for evidence, it creates it. When you declare, "My financial breakthrough is coming," or "My family restoration is in motion," you're planting seeds that heaven waters. St. Anthony takes those declarations and turns them into powerful intercession. This is where your faith shifts from hoping to knowing. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's holy assurance. It's saying, I don't see it yet, but I know it's done. This is the kind of bold faith St. Anthony encourages, the faith that makes room for miracles. Whether it's healing in your body, provision for your debts, or reconciliation in your home, confidence says it's already on its way. Picture it. You wake up tomorrow to news you never expected. A call from the bank saying your loan is cleared. A message from the loved one who had been silent for years. A doctor smiling with results that defy explanation. This is how impossible miracles unfold, suddenly, beautifully, because faith has prepared the way. Have you noticed how your spirit feels lighter now than when you began praying? That's no accident. That's what happens when St. Anthony's intercession takes hold. He doesn't just bring answers, he brings peace before the answer even arrives. That peace is your proof that heaven is already moving. Confidence also teaches you to speak differently. No longer do you say, if it happens, you say, when it happens. This shift invites blessings because it shows heaven you are ready to receive. St. Anthony delights in faith that talks like the miracle is already here. Even in financial emergencies, this confidence transforms everything. A man once prayed for relief from crushing debt. Instead of begging in fear, he prayed boldly through St. Anthony, thanking God in advance. Within weeks, unexpected provision flowed. His faith didn't just wait, it acted like the answer was already delivered. Your words hold power. Begin speaking life over your situation. Say aloud, my urgent help is here. My home is restored, my body is healed, my impossible miracle is done. St. Anthony hears these words and carries them higher. They become prayers soaked in confidence, irresistible to heaven. Even when doubt tries to creep back in, remember this: St. Anthony never stops praying. Your faith doesn't have to be flawless, it just has to be persistent. He adds his faith to yours, lifting what feels too heavy. Together your prayers roar louder than fear. Confidence also keeps you alert to signs. Look closely. Sometimes answers come softly, a discount you didn't expect, a kind word that opens a door, a sudden sense of relief in your spirit. These are small confirmations that God is at work, often through St. Anthony's intercession. Trust also means preparation. If you're praying for a job, polish your resume. If you're asking for family restoration, practice forgiveness. If you're seeking financial breakthrough, plan for stewardship. Confidence acts as if the miracle is coming because it believes it is. A woman once prayed through St. Anthony for her son to return home. Every day she set a place at the table, confident he would walk through the door. One evening he did. That's what confidence looks like. It behaves as if heaven has already answered. Confidence also renews strength. When the wait feels long, it reminds you, delay is not denial. God is aligning every detail perfectly. St. Anthony sees what you can't and works tirelessly in prayer to ensure your blessing arrives right on time. Even in illness, confidence brings power. One man prayed daily through St. Anthony for healing, even thanking God before it came. His recovery stunned doctors. When asked how, he said, I believed before I saw. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. Your miracle doesn't have to be loud to be real. Sometimes it's the quiet mending of a heart, the slow rebuilding of trust, the subtle easing of fear. St. Anthony moves both in the spectacular and the silent. Trust both. Confidence also silences fear. Fear says, what if nothing changes? Faith replies, what if everything does? That's the mindset that draws blessings closer. The more you speak faith, the more heaven responds. Look at your life. Even if nothing external has shifted yet, your heart already has. You're not as heavy. You're not as hopeless. That's the first miracle. Peace before provision, calm before resolution. This is the mark of true faith working through St. Anthony. Your impossible requests are not impossible to God. What you see as dead-end roads, St. Anthony sees as divine setups. When he intercedes, heaven reroutes what seemed final and opens paths you didn't know existed. If you've ever doubted whether prayer works, look at your spirit now. You feel steadier, stronger, ready. That's because faith always changes the believer first. And when the believer changes, miracles follow. Confidence prepares you for the answer. When the door opens, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready. You'll welcome it like a long-expected guest, because through this miraculous prayer today, you've been expecting it all along. Faith and confidence go hand in hand. The more you trust, the more boldly you pray. The more boldly you pray, the more Saint Anthony lifts those prayers like fire into heaven. This is the cycle of miracle after miracle. Whatever your need is, urgent help, financial breakthrough, healing, family restoration, declare it boldly. Speak as if it's already done. Let your words be an announcement to your own soul. It is finished. My miracle is here. Because in truth it is. Every moment you believe, heaven responds. Every time you declare faith, doors open, and every prayer through St. Anthony brings your blessing closer. Now breathe, exhale the worry, inhale faith. Walk forward like someone who knows heaven has spoken. That is confidence, that is victory. If you believe your miracle is already done, type, "My miracle is here" in the comments. Declare it boldly and let this be the moment your faith becomes testimony. May the peace of God surround your heart right now like a warm light in the coldest night. May every burden you've carried for so long fall at his feet through the intercession of St. Anthony. Let the chains of fear, worry, and despair be broken, and may your spirit rise in strength. This is your moment of divine renewal. I bless your home with harmony and laughter. Where there was silence, may voices of love return. Where there was conflict, may forgiveness flow freely, restoring unity. Through the prayer to St. Anthony, may every wall of division crumble, and may family restoration blossom in ways beyond what you've imagined. I bless your health. May every cell in your body respond to the healing power of heaven. Where there has been pain, may comfort now dwell. Through St. Anthony's powerful intercession, may you see signs of healing, small or great, that remind you God is near. I bless your finances. For every person drowning in financial emergency, may doors open that no man can shut. May provision flow in unexpected ways, opportunities, favor, and breakthroughs that bring stability. St. Anthony, patron of impossible miracles, carry these needs to heaven. I bless your spirit. Where hope felt dim, may it blaze bright again. Let faith anchor you deeper than fear ever could. May this miraculous prayer to St. Anthony be the turning point, the day you can say, "This is when my miracle began." I bless your impossible requests. May they become testimonies that inspire others to believe again. The God who moved mountains before will move them for you. Through St. Anthony's intercession, every closed door will be unlocked at the perfect time. I bless your family. May estranged relationships soften, phone calls be made, and healing conversations unfold. Through family restoration, may peace reign in your home. St. Anthony, walk into these homes and bring your holy calm. I bless your nights. May you rest without anxiety, knowing heaven is working while you sleep. May St. Anthony, guard your dreams and fill your heart with trust so deep that even your sleep becomes a prayer of surrender. I bless your mornings. May you wake each day with renewed courage, ready to embrace what God has already set in motion. Through this prayer, may your first thought be, today, my urgent miracle unfolds. I bless your work. May every effort bear fruit, every task prosper, and every obstacle fade. Through Saint Anthony's guidance, may new doors open and financial breakthroughs flow like living water into your hands. I bless your faith. May it grow stronger than doubt, louder than fear, and more resilient than setbacks. Through every tear, through every prayer, may St. Anthony hold you steady in the waiting until the miracle appears. I bless your future. May it be brighter than your past, filled with answered prayers and unexpected joy. Through the impossible miracles of Saint Anthony, may you walk boldly into blessings prepared long before this day. I bless your heart. May forgiveness be easier, gratitude come quicker, and joy stay longer. Through prayer, may your spirit be reshaped to see not just what you've lost, but what God is restoring. I bless your testimony. May it ripple outward, inspiring friends, family, and even strangers to believe in the power of intercession. St. Anthony, let these answered prayers glorify God and light the way for others. Finally, I bless your faith journey. May this prayer be the start of something you never forget. Through St. Anthony's intercession, may you always remember that heaven hears, heaven moves, and heaven answers. What if today is the day you look back on and say, that's when it all began? Do you believe St. Anthony has already whispered your name in heaven? Are you ready to walk forward knowing your urgent miracle is in motion? Will you choose faith over fear today, even before the answer arrives? If this prayer touched you, declare it in faith. Write Amen in the comments and claim your blessing. Every name you write is lifted in prayer and heard by heaven. Let this be your public step of faith, a declaration that your miraculous prayer today is already answered. Share this prayer with someone you love, a friend facing a financial emergency, a family member needing healing, or anyone waiting for their impossible miracle. You never know how one prayer can change a life forever. Like this video to spread it to more souls needing hope. Every click is an act of faith, helping this message of family restoration and divine intercession reach farther than we can imagine. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications. Join this family of faith where we believe in miracles, pray boldly, and see St. Anthony move daily. Type "Glory to God" below and share this prayer so others can walk into their blessing too.